So, I have a crazy story for you today. Imagine this. You're sitting there, sifting through a jar of old coins, maybe a few pennies here and there, the usual stuff. And then bam, you spot something that makes your heart race. A 1971 Lincoln penny. Not just any penny though, no sir. This one has an O mint mark. Could it be? Could it really be? You might have just found a coin worth $1.70 million. Sounds like something out of a treasure hunt, right? But seriously, it's more likely than you think. So stick with me as we dive into how this rare penny could make you rich and how to spot one if you're lucky enough to find it. All right, let's start from the beginning. If you're a coin collector, or if you've just randomly picked up coins like I have over the years, you might know that most pennies are pretty, well, worthless. I mean, how many of us have jarred up a ton of old pennies from the 60s and 70s, thinking maybe one day they'd be worth something? But here's the thing. There's one key feature that can turn a 1971 penny from a dime a dozen into a jaw-dropping $1.7 million dollar coin. And that is, drumroll, please, an O mint mark. Yeah, you heard me right. The 1971 penny that's worth big bucks has no mint mark, and that's a big deal. But hold on, why does that matter? Let's break it down. In 1971, the US Mint was busy cranking out pennies like there was no tomorrow. But in certain years, some pennies were made without the usual mint mark on them. Now, most of you are probably thinking, yeah, I've seen pennies without a mint mark before. But here's where it gets good. Not all those pennies are created equal. The ones with no mint mark from 1971? Super rare. So rare, in fact, that the value of one of those babies can reach up to $1.7 million if it's in great condition. Crazy, right? Okay, so what exactly is a mint mark? Glad you asked. Mint marks are those tiny letters on your coins, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark at all, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. Most pennies from 1971 have a D or an S, but when one comes through without any mark, that's when the fun begins. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Not every no mint mark penny from 1971 is automatically a $1 million gem. No, no. It has to be in good condition. We're talking near perfect condition here. If it's scratched, worn, or corroded, then you're probably not looking at a fortune. But if it's uncirculated or even just lightly worn, that's when you start to dream about retiring early. So, funny story. I've actually had a very close encounter with a potentially life-changing penny. A few years back, I was cleaning out my grandma's old coin jar, the one she tossed pennies into from her purse over the years. I'm casually going through these coins, mostly 1980s stuff, when I spot a 1971 penny. I think, okay, cool, let's see if it has any mint mark. I flip it over, and nothing. No mint mark at all. I'm freaking out at this point. I mean, this could be it, right? But as I'm staring at this penny, I notice a scratch down the side, and that, my friends, is where my dreams of retiring early died. Turns out, my penny wasn't worth much. But hey, at least I got a good story out of it, right? So, let's talk value. Like I mentioned, a 1971 penny with no mint mark can sell for upwards of $1.7 million. But don't get too excited just yet. The condition really matters. A good one can fetch you around $100 or so, but if you've got an uncirculated one in mint condition, that's when you've got a jackpot. The crazy thing is, the price isn't static. These rare pennies are constantly being bought and sold, and there are collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for the ones that meet all the right criteria. And here's the kicker. There are fewer than 20 of these bad boys known to exist, which makes them super hard to come by. So, when one pops up at auction, you'd better believe it's going for a premium. So, how do you tell if your 1971 penny is one of the lucky few? Well, first off, check for that mint mark, or lack thereof. If there's no mint mark, that's your first clue. Next, take a good look at the condition. The coin should look relatively clean, with little to no wear or damage. If it's in rough shape, it might still be worth a bit, but you'll need to do some more research to see if it has any collectible value. Alright? So there you have it. Your 1971 penny with no mint mark could very well be the golden ticket to financial freedom, or it could just be another coin in your jar. But hey, either way, now you know what to look for. So, next time you're going through your old coins, Keep an eye out for that 1971 penny with no mint mark. Who knows? You might just be sitting on a small fortune. And hey, before you go, if you found this video useful, or if you've got a stash of coins you're dying to know more about, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips on coins worth money, strategies to spot the rare finds, and stories about how you could become the next big-time coin collector. You definitely don't want to miss out, trust me. Hit subscribe, and let's go hunting for those rare coins together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more tips on how to turn your pocket change into pocket cha-ching. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, if you've ever come across a penny and thought, it's just a penny, what's the big deal? Well, you might want to sit down for this one, because what if I told you that there's a penny out there worth a whopping $1.8 million? Yep, you heard that right. A single penny that's worth more than most people's entire savings account. It's the 1968 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and it's sitting in the lap of coin collecting royalty right now. So, how do you find one of these bad boys? Is there one in your jar of change just waiting to make you rich? Well, stick around, because we're diving deep into what makes this coin so special, why it could be worth an absurd amount of cash, and how you might have one sitting around without even knowing it. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Let's jump in. All right, let's break this down. You've got your standard Abraham Lincoln penny. Nothing special about it, right? It's a penny. It's been in circulation since 1909, and you've probably tossed a bunch of them in the fountain, hoping for some good luck, or, more realistically, drop them into the jar on your dresser. But here's the kicker. In 1968, something strange happened with some pennies. See, pennies have a mint mark that tells you where they were made, either the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. But in 1968, for a small batch of pennies, the mint mark was missing. That's right, no D and no S on the coin. It was like the coin was running around, trying to be all mysterious, saying, "I'm not from here. I'm rare, I'm different, and I'm gonna be worth a lot one day." At first, nobody knew what they had. These coins were just floating around, being treated like, well, regular pennies. But over time, as coin collectors started doing what they do best, looking at everything with a magnifying glass and a lot of patience, someone noticed that these 1968 pennies without a mint mark were pretty rare. Now, we've all heard about the famous error coins, right? Like the ones with double dies, weird engravings, or misplaced mint marks. Well, the 1968 no mint mark penny falls into that error coin category, and as time has gone on, it's become a holy grail for collectors. Why? Because it's so dang rare. To put it in perspective, only about 10 of these pennies are believed to exist in the wild. Now, I don't know about you, but if I found a penny worth $1.8 million, I'd probably pass out from shock. Seriously, I found a quarter in the parking lot the other day and felt like I won the lottery. But a 1968 no mint mark penny? That's like hitting the jackpot and finding a unicorn in your backyard. But here's the real kicker. How do you even know if you've got one of these million-dollar beauties? Well, the first thing you'll need to do is check the date. It's got to be 1995 easy enough, right? Then, look closely at the coin's reverse side. You should see the spot where the mint mark would be. If you see nothing there, boom, that's your golden ticket. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, how can I tell if it's the real deal, or if I've just got an old penny that's worn down? Here's a tip. A lot of people will buy these coins from you, especially at auctions or specialized coin shops, but make sure they're experts. Getting a professional appraisal is the best way to confirm the coin's authenticity. There's no need to rush to eBay and slap a $1.8 million price tag on your penny just yet. Okay, let me tell you about the time I almost found something worth a lot of money. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, and I noticed a box of old coins. I'm talking a box full of everything from dimes to quarters to what looked like some weird foreign coins I'd never seen before. Naturally, I dove in, because hey, I thought, maybe I'll find a hidden gem. I started flipping through, and sure enough, there it was, a 1921 Morgan silver dollar. I almost fainted. In my head, I was like, this has gotta be worth a fortune. I bought it for $5, like a total bargain, and rushed home to do the research. Turns out, the coin was a counterfeit. It wasn't even a real Morgan dollar. So, Yeah, my dream of finding a $1,000 coin ended up being worth less than the cup of coffee I spilled on it. But that's the life of a coin collector, right? You get excited, but you've got to do your homework first. So, when it comes to these 1968 no mint mark pennies, you've got to be a little cautious. If you find one, don't just run off to sell it to the first person who says, "I'll give you $100 for it." Get it appraised, get it authenticated, and then start dreaming about that sweet $1.80 million now. I know what you're probably thinking. Great. So I need to go through every single penny I've got to see if one of them is worth $1.8 million. And yeah, that might take a little time, but think about it. If you do find one, you could be on your way to living the dream. Plus, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. Here's the deal. If you're into coins and you want more tips, tricks, and insider info on finding valuable coins, whether it's rare pennies, silver dollars, or anything else in your change jar, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm posting new videos every week, sharing everything I know about the coin world, and trust me, there's always something worth talking about. And if you've got a coin story or a question, drop it in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. Let's keep the conversation going and make sure none of us miss out on that next big coin discovery. All right, you've probably heard this one before. I went to the store and got some change, only to find a penny that was worth more than my car. Sounds like a tall tale, right? But what if I told you that one specific penny could actually be worth over $1.9 million? Yep, that's right. I'm talking about the famous 1971 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. No, it's not a typo. 1.9 million bucks. In today's video, we're diving into how this little copper coin went from being a pocket filler to a potential lottery ticket. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you might just be digging through your change jar with a whole new perspective on those pennies lying around. Let's get into it. So, you're probably wondering, what's so special about this particular penny? It's just a regular old 1971 penny, right? Nope, not quite. See, most of the pennies from 1971 aren't worth much more than the 1 cent they were originally minted for. But there's a catch. A rare variety of the 1971 penny was produced at the San Francisco Mint with a mint mark that made it more special than all its little penny buddies. The S mint mark, which stands for San Francisco, wasn't supposed to be there at all. This penny was accidentally produced with the wrong mint mark, and that mistake made it a super rare find. Now, the standard 1971 penny doesn't have much value, but here's where things get interesting. The 1971 S penny, if you can find one in mint condition, could fetch around $1.9 million at auction. Yep, I said million, not thousand. And how do you know if your penny is the one? Well, first of all, you'll need to look for that S mint mark, which is located right under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. Looks pretty ordinary, doesn't it? But what makes the 1971 S penny so valuable is how rare it is in such great condition. Most of these were used, tossed around in change, and well, got worn down over time. If you're lucky enough to find one that's nearly flawless, maybe tucked away in some old coin collection or buried in your grandma's drawer, that's when the big bucks start rolling in. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I'll just check my penny jar and make $1 million today. Well, hold your horses, because while it's a rare find, it's still out there. Here's the thing. Most people don't even realize they have a potentially life-changing penny sitting in their collection. I mean, I was once that person. I had a jar of pennies sitting in my drawer for years. One day, I decided to finally go through them, and what do I find? A 1971 penny. My first thought? Meh, just another penny. But then I saw the mint mark, and suddenly I thought, wait, what if this is the one? Spoiler alert. It wasn't the $1.9 million penny. But that moment, thinking I was holding onto a small fortune, was a game changer for me. It made me realize how important it is to pay attention to the small details. You'd be surprised at how many other coins out there can hold value if you know what you're looking for. And trust me, I've learned the hard way. After that, I started researching more about rare coins, and you won't believe how many incredible finds are sitting out there just waiting to be discovered. Let's break down the numbers here. If you come across a 1971 S penny that's in pristine condition, you're looking at a coin worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even a cool million. But here's the catch. you have to know what to look for. You can't just grab any 1971 penny and assume it's worth a fortune. Grading is everything. Host points to a grading chart on the screen, showing how pennies are graded from poor to mint state. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. So, if your penny looks like it's been run over by a truck, unfortunately, you won't be making any millions. But if your coin has minimal wear, clear details, and that shiny, minty glow, now we're talking. So, where do you go from here? First things first, check your penny jar or coin collection. If you've got a 1971 S with that mint mark, give it a close inspection. Next, get it graded. Professional coin graders can tell you exactly how much it's worth. You can't just rely on what someone tells you online. A proper grade can make all the difference when it comes to selling the coin or just knowing how much it's really worth. Now, you might not find the $1.9 million penny on your first try, but the lesson here is simple. Pay attention to the coins you have. Even the smallest, most ordinary-looking coin can have an incredible story behind it, if you know where to look. And if you want to learn more tips about rare coins, how to spot them, and strategies for growing your coin collection into something valuable, hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to miss out on future videos where I share even more secrets to coin hunting. Believe me, you might be just one penny away from a fortune. Thanks for tuning in today. And remember, whether you're a coin collector or just someone looking to make a few extra bucks, keep an eye on those pennies. They might just be worth their weight in gold. Hey there, treasure hunters. What if I told you there's a penny, yep, a regular OL penny, that could make you a millionaire? I'm not talking about pirate gold or some ancient artifact. Nope, I mean a 1985 D. Lincoln penny, the kind you might just find tucked away in an old jar of spare change. Believe it or not, one of these little copper coins recently sold for a jaw-dropping $2 million. That's right, million, with an M. So, grab your magnifying glasses, folks, because today, we're diving into the world of valuable pennies and what makes this particular one so special. What's so special about the 1985 D. Lincoln penny? First, let's break this down. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was struck. Now, most 1985 pennies aren't anything extraordinary. You could probably find a handful in your couch cushions. But the one we're talking about? It's a rare breed. This penny is a variety coin, meaning it has an error or unique feature that sets it apart. In this case, experts believe it's an ultra-rare double die or a misstrike, which means the die used to mint the coin was slightly misaligned. This creates a doubled image on the coin. Think of it as the minting equivalent of a happy little accident, as Bob Ross might say, except this accident is worth more than a Picasso painting. Current market value and why it's worth $2 million. So, why did someone shell out $2 million for this bad boy? It all comes down to rarity and demand. There are likely only a handful, if not just one, of these coins in such pristine condition. Plus, collectors love a good backstory. Now, before you go tearing apart your piggy bank, let me sprinkle in a little reality check. Most pennies from 1985 are worth, well, a penny. But if you do happen to stumble across one of these unicorn coins, you're looking at a life-changing payday. And hey, it's not just the 1985 D penny you should keep an eye out for. Plenty of other coins, like the 1943 steel penny or the 1955 double die penny, are also worth a fortune. Speaking of treasure hunts, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I got hooked on coin collecting. One night, I stayed up till 2 a.m. sifting through an old coffee can full of pennies my grandma had saved. I was convinced I'd strike gold, or, in this case, copper. Did I find a 1985 D worth $2 million? No, but I did find a 1944 wheat penny that was worth about $50, and let me tell you, I felt like I'd won the lottery. Moral of the story? It's not just about the money. It's the thrill of the hunt and the stories behind these coins that make collecting so much fun. So, what are you waiting for? Go dig through your drawers, check those old jars, and maybe even ask your grandma if she's got a stash of pennies lying around. You never know. Your next big payday could be hiding in plain sight. And if you want more tips on coins worth serious cash, strategies for building your collection, or just some fun stories about the quirks of coin collecting, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. I've got tons more content coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. What if I told you that the humble penny sitting in your pocket could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.1 million? Yup, you heard me right. A single Abraham Lincoln penny from 1994 with no mint mark could make you richer than your wildest dreams. Sounds too good to be true? Stick around, because today we're diving into the fascinating story of this elusive coin, how it got its insane value, and, most importantly, how you might just strike it rich. Spoiler alert, you'll want to check that jar of pennies on your dresser by the end of this video. The 1994 no mint mark penny. What's the big deal? Okay, first things first. Why is this particular penny worth so much? Let me set the stage. Back in 1994, the US Mint was churning out billions of pennies. Most of them were made at the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco mints, which is why they have little letters like P, D, or S under the date. But every now and then, a penny slips through without a mint mark. Here's where things get spicy. This isn't just a minting error. It's a legendary mistake. Why? Because the 1994 no mint mark penny isn't officially recognized. It's like the mint's ghost. They didn't mean to make it, but here it is, haunting collectors with its rarity and massive value. Theories abound. Some say it was a fluke, a one-in-a-billion mistake during production. Others believe it was an intentional slip-up by a rogue mint employee. I like to think of it as the coin equivalent of leaving your wallet at home on pizza night. Completely unintentional, but definitely impactful. Now, this is the part where your jaw drops. The 1994 no mint mark penny has become the holy grail for collectors. It's not just about rarity. It's about the story behind it. In 2021, one of these bad boys popped up at auction and sold for $2.1 million. That's like trading a penny for a private island. Here's the $1 million, or should I say million. How do you know if you've got one? Take a close look at any 1994 penny you have. This one's obvious. There should be no letter under the date. It needs to be in excellent shape. If your penny looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, sorry, it's not the one. If you think you've struck gold, have it authenticated by a reputable grading service. A professional opinion can turn your hunch into a payday. Okay, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was rummaging through my old piggy bank. Don't judge. I was looking for quarters for laundry. Anyway, I came across this weird-looking penny. No mint mark, shiny as a new car, and my heart skipped a beat. For a hot second, I thought I was about to become a millionaire. Long story short, it was a 1994 penny all right, but the lack of a mint mark? Just my imagination playing tricks on me. Let's just say, my dreams of buying a yacht vanished faster than a coin down a vending machine slot. But hey, you never know, right? So, there you have it, folks. The mysterious 1994 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could change your life. If you've got a jar of coins at home, start digging. That penny could be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to make you a millionaire. And even if you don't find one, it's a heck of a lot more exciting than scrolling through your phone for the 800th time today. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and wild stories about coins worth money. Let's turn pocket change into big bucks, one coin at a time. What if I told you there might be a $2.2 million penny sitting in your spare change jar right now? No, this isn't a prank. Today, we're talking about the 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's sending shockwaves through the coin collecting world. Hi there, fellow treasure hunters. Welcome back to Big Coins Dealer, where we turn pocket change into pure gold, or, in today's case, millions. If you love discovering hidden treasures or just enjoy hearing about the wild world of coin values, you're in the right place. Stick around because you don't want to miss this jaw-dropping story of how one tiny penny made history. Let's start with the basics. Most modern pennies are, well, ordinary. But the 2016 no mint mark Lincoln cent? It's like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of weeds. What's so special about it? Well, it all comes down to a rare error at the US Mint in 2016. Pennies were primarily struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but a tiny batch of coins rolled out of the Philadelphia mint without the signature P mint mark. This was a huge deal because it's a minting anomaly, and collectors love anomalies. Think of it like finding a Picasso sketch in a thrift store. Now here's where it gets really exciting. A collector recently shelled out a staggering $2.2 million for one of these pennies. Yup, you heard that right. A single cent fetched more than some luxury mansions. So, why the sky-high price? It's the trifecta of rarity, condition, and demand. There are only a handful of these no-mint mark pennies known to exist, and this one was in pristine, uncirculated condition. Basically, it's the Beyoncé of pennies, one in a billion. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I went through a phase where I'd dump all my loose change into a jar at the end of the day. One rainy afternoon, I decided to sift through it, just for fun. I found a few wheat pennies and even a 1943 steel cent, which was cool but nothing crazy. Now, every time I think about that jar, I can't help but wonder, did I overlook a 2016 no-mint mark penny? Was I sitting on a small fortune without realizing it? Moral of the story: never underestimate your spare change. Tips for spotting the 2016 no-mint mark penny: obviously, it needs to say 2016. If there's no P, you might be onto something. The closer it is to mint state, the more valuable it could be. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't ignore your loose change. That humble penny in your pocket could be worth millions. The 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how even the most ordinary-looking objects can hold extraordinary value. If you're as fascinated by coins as I am, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories to help you spot coins worth big money. Who knows? Your next find could be life-changing. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go raid those coin jars and see what treasures you can uncover. When was the last time you actually looked at the coins jingling in your pocket? Probably never, right? Well, what if I told you one of those seemingly ordinary pennies might just be worth a jaw-dropping $2.3 million? That's right, we're talking about the legendary 1973 D. Lincoln penny that turned heads in the numismatic world. Stick around, because today, I'm going to tell you why this tiny coin is worth more than your car, or maybe even your house, and how you might accidentally be sitting on a fortune. Plus, I'll share a hilarious story about the time I thought I struck it rich. Spoiler alert, I didn't. But it's a good laugh. Alright, first things first. What's so special about this 1973 D. Lincoln penny? Let's break it down. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was struck. Now, most of the 1973 pennies from Denver are your run-of-the-mill, 1-cent wonders. But one unique coin slipped through. A penny struck on a planchet that wasn't copper. Instead, it was made of aluminum, a material the mint was experimenting with to save costs. Aluminum pennies were never officially released to the public. Almost all of them were destroyed, except for a few that somehow escaped into circulation. Think of it as the coin world's version of a secret menu item. Only a few lucky people even knew it existed, let alone got their hands on one. Now, fast forward to today. One of these rare 1973 D aluminum pennies showed up at an auction and sold for a staggering $2.3 million. That's enough to make anyone stop and check their couch cushions. So, why the hefty price tag? It's all about rarity and history. Coin collectors love a good story, and this penny has it all: mystery, government experiments, and a one-in-a-million survival story. It's the coin equivalent of finding out your grandma's old quilt is actually a Picasso. And here's where my personal story comes in. A few years ago, I was convinced I'd found my million-dollar coin. I had this 1973 D penny that looked a little too shiny to be copper. I was already imagining the headlines: regular guy becomes millionaire with pocket change. So, I sent it off to a coin expert. I waited weeks, refreshing my email like I was waiting for a college acceptance letter. When the verdict finally came in, it turned out my shiny treasure was just a regular penny someone had cleaned. Yep, someone had scrubbed it to the point of blinding brilliance. And there I was, left with a coin worth exactly 1 cent. Moral of the story? Not every shiny penny is a jackpot, but it's always worth a second look. Now, if you're wondering how to identify the real deal, here are some tips. Aluminum pennies are much lighter than regular copper pennies. If your 1973 D penny feels like it could float away, that's a good sign. Magnet test. Aluminum isn't magnetic, so if a magnet doesn't stick, you might be onto something. Always get your coin verified by a trusted expert. Don't be like me and get your hopes up before confirmation. So, what's the takeaway here? Always check your change. You never know when $1 million coin might be hiding in plain sight. Coins like the 1973 D. Lincoln penny remind us that even the smallest things can hold incredible value. And hey, if you've got a pile of old pennies at home, now's the time to go on a treasure hunt. Who knows? You might just find your ticket to early retirement. Before you dive into your coin jars, do me a favor. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips on coins worth money, how to spot valuable ones, and even some hilarious stories from my own coin collecting adventures. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts, especially if it's worth $2.3 million. You know that feeling when you find a crumpled dollar bill in your old jeans? Now imagine finding a penny, yes, just one measly penny, and learning it's worth a staggering $2.4 million. Yup, that's right, a single copper Abraham Lincoln coin could change your life. So, grab your loose change, dust off that jar of forgotten pennies, and stick around because today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Could you already have one in your pocket? Let's find out. First things first. What makes this little guy so special? In 1989, the U.S. Mint accidentally released a batch of pennies without the usual mint mark. That's the little D for Denver or P for Philadelphia you usually see under the date. A mint mark tells you where the coin was made. No mint mark? That screams rare error, and collectors love errors. Think of it as the quirky misfit of the coin world, and in this case, quirky means cash. Here's where things get crazy. Error coins like this are super rare, and rarity drives up value. Plus, this penny is a perfect storm of collectible appeal. It's from 1989, a year most of us remember for big hair and bigger shoulder pads. It's a classic Lincoln penny, already beloved by coin enthusiasts. And, because of the error, there are only a handful of them known to exist today. Collectors will pay top dollar, well, millions, to own a piece of history like this. It's like the coin version of finding a first edition comic book. Okay, here's the deal. While the chances are slim, they're not zero. Most 1989 pennies aren't worth more than face value, but it's always worth a closer look. The key is to inspect the date and check for that missing mint mark. Pro tip: use a magnifying glass or your phone's camera zoom. Your eyesight is good, but it's not that good. Let me tell you about the time I thought I'd struck gold, or copper in this case. A few years back, I got into coin collecting after a friend casually mentioned their dad had found a rare coin worth $5,000. So, I went full Sherlock Holmes on my spare change. I'd sit at the kitchen table, flipping penny after penny. One day, I came across a 1989 penny with no mint mark. My heart nearly stopped. I thought, this is it. I'm retiring early. It was just a regular penny with worn-off marks. But hey, the thrill was worth it. Plus, I've learned so much about coins since then, and maybe, just maybe, one of you will find the real deal. So, you've checked your change and bam, you spot a 1989 penny with no mint mark. Don't clean it. Seriously, leave the grime. It's part of the charm. Get it authenticated. Reach out to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. If it's legit, you're sitting on a small fortune. From there, you can auction it off or sell it directly to a collector. So, what are you waiting for? Dig through your car's cup holder, check under your couch cushions, and raid your old piggy bank. You never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. And even if you don't find a $2.4 million penny, the journey itself is worth it, because who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? Before you head off on your coin quest, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories to help you uncover the hidden value in your pocket change. Who knows?